All right, if you had a good conference, give me a yeah. If you had a great conference, give me a yeah. If you're an introvert like me and you were ready to go home, say yeah. Okay, there you go. We'll be honest, right? Thank you. It's really an honor because I've been sitting here for the last couple of days just listening and learning from all of you. And my hope is that this session will make sure that when you get home, your companies, your organizations will get their ROI, but you will go back remembering that you are the superheroes that you are. Does that sound good? Yeah. All right. Today we are going to cover Crush Your Money Goals, which is the name of my firm. I'm actually not part of a credit union. I am a financial educator making money off of financial education. Can you believe people are paying me money to teach them the same stuff that y'all are teaching? The question then becomes, why? I had a friend who said, why are you teaching at this conference? Wouldn't they be your competitors? Let's be honest here. There is room for all of us, right? This room, it told me that. But more specifically, we need as many boots on the ground. We got a lot of work to do. And so even though these secrets have made me a lot of money, I'm sharing these secrets with you because I want everyone in this room to succeed. So today we're going to talk about how we're going to make over your money education programs and reach more people and have them actually be excited about them. Let me know if these are things that you've heard before. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 1, I don't know where to start. 2, nobody taught me. 3, I'm overwhelmed. 4, I don't have time. 5, I heard, insert terrible advice here. Oh, bro on TikTok told me that crypto's going to the moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Which ones have you heard from people you've taught before? But you can put your hands at 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. All 5. All 5. Here's an interesting thing. I do what y'all do too, and I hear these things every day. How many of you have felt frustrated by any of these before? My goal by the end of this session, by the end of this conference, is that I will help you produce 4 times the results in half the time. Here's the kicker. You don't have to work harder. Are y'all hearing me on this? You don't have to work harder. I'm ready. How do I know that this is possible? Because I'm producing an enormous amount of content and results for real people with a team of 1, because I was funding entirely by myself. How did I come up with this number of 4 times the results? It's because I am able to produce the same amount that many other organizations are able to produce in a year. I do it in 3 months. So I have 4 years in my 1 year. And I work 20 hours a week. Who wants to learn how to work less? Anyone? All right, that's what we're here for. So there are 3 caveats to this. In exchange for this very valuable information, I have 3 conditions. And by the way, you should all have conditions on your very valuable brains. Number 1, I want everyone to take their phones right now, put them in your hand, and I want you to say, I am a superhero. Awesome. Now take your phone and put it face down in the middle of that table. Yes. Okay. By the way, you should use that for all of your adult education. It really works. Number 2, we are going to document. I have a really expensive psychology degree, and it taught me nothing but one thing. Your brain is not used for storage. Your brain is used for processing. I know you will not remember everything that you learned today or for the entire conference, so that's why you have a worksheet in front of you that you're going to document your plan, all right? And the last thing is you're going to deliver. All I ask is that you pick one of the things that we talked about today and you deliver them immediately. Everything I'm going to give you today is something you can do immediately. It's not going to take you 3 months. You can do it as soon as you get back. So those are the 3 things I'm going to ask for. The framework that I use spells out the word crush. That's why my company is called Crush Your Money Goals, and we're going to work through that, C-R-U-S-H. So let's start with the C. This is how you start working less.
If you like this content, I would love for you to go to my website at crushyourmoneygoals.com, and you can grab my book, which is the 25 smart habits that will help you save, invest, and fast track your way to financial freedom. And if you pre-order the book, you will get access to my free course on how to brand your business on a budget. And that will be super helpful for you on tips on how you can land more press, how you can create more buzz around your business, and how you can become an authority in the thing that you do without spending a lot of money.
Starting today, you need to curate your offerings. When you hear, let's say, an art curation, what does a curator, a good curator at an art gallery, what is their skill set? Explain. What else? Identifying talent and resources, and like the best ones, right? Not like the ugly stuff. Although I sometimes doubt that when I go to certain art galleries. Anyone go to an art gallery and you're like, I could have done this. Displaying, yes. Someone said choose. Choose. What else? Collect. All right, let's discuss that. What is the difference between collecting and curating? Huh? Aha, curating is collecting with purpose. That's absolutely right. Now here is the challenge for all of us as financial education gurus, is that we want to share all the information. We want to share it with as much as possible. We have 700 different presentations you can choose from. But what are people telling us? They're overwhelmed. There's too much. But here is where your superpower comes in as financial educators. You know what is good information and what is bad information. And so instead of creating, where can we go and look at what you've already created and curate the best of what you've got? This is how I was able to build a multi-six-figure business in the span of a couple of years, was because I doubled down on a certain topic, debt. Because people told me that was a big issue that they had. And I was like, you know what? I'm not ready to teach investing yet. I'm not ready to teach entrepreneurship yet, but I know debt. And also my name is Bernadette Joy. So we're gonna go with that. Here's a prime example. This is why I brought so many of the book things. All of you have a card of my book. It's called Crush Your Money Goals, the 25 Smart Money Habits to Save, Invest, and Fast Track Your Financial Freedom. They call it the Atomic Habits meets Psychology of Money. When I was approached to do this book, they said, we want someone to write a book about 100 habits. And I said, I will not write a book about 100 habits. Who needs 100 habits? Oh, well, we wanted to market to everyone. I'm not for everyone. You are not for everyone. You're for a very specific group of people. So who are those people that you want to target, and what are they asking for? These 25 are ones that I have time tested. These are ones that I didn't just make up because of the book. These are ones that I already tested with hundreds and hundreds of people that I know already work. Less is actually better, not more. Let's say literally your boss comes tomorrow and says, we got to cut all the programs except for one. Which one would that be? What did you say would be the program that you would double down on?
We're working on a pay yourself first program that helps people to build an emergency fund, and I've just been inspired by a lot today that I'd like to. I love the idea of curating because I've already created it. It's supposed to start in September, but I'm not satisfied with it. It's a pilot, and I really feel like this is something that we can use for our community partners, and it could really explode. I'm really proud of the idea of it. Mm-hmm. We had a nonprofit approach us. And I'm just excited about it. I think it can do really great work for our community.
I love that. I love it. That's a great example of where your reason doesn't have to be the same as hers. It could be that, oh, I already have this program, it's already built, and now we got to use it. It could be that I'm really passionate about this particular topic. It could be because the community is really asking for it. R stands for reverse into freedom, not just literacy. I've heard the term financial literacy this whole weekend, which is great. I actually listened to hear how many times I heard the word freedom, and I heard it 3 times. Here is the challenge that y'all have. We are not teaching people how to save money. We are teaching people how to save years of their life. I am an accidental influencer. How many of you have come across influencer information and you're like, that is not good education? They're not going away. But what are they actually selling people? Lifestyle, get rich quick. So what is that telling us? People want to get rich. But we're telling them like, oh no, just be okay with literacy. People are saying, no, I want to be rich. So I'm going to follow that guy who says I should invest into Robinhood, and I'm not going to save an emergency fund. I see that all the time. So I have been able to become a debt-free millionaire. I'm going to retire. Next year I'm turning 40. And I'm retiring next year. And I'm retiring my husband. Okay? And thank you. I tell people all the time I'm lazy. I did not know that would turn into an article in India where they said, despite being incredibly lazy, one woman has revealed how she turned her side hustle into a 225,000 pound a year career. People don't want to work that hard, but we're telling them, hey, if you just put money into an IRA for 30 years, you'll be rich 30 years. And this is what I want you to take away and how you can revamp your programs without a lot of work. I write articles for Forbes. I have over 100 articles in Forbes. I'm reaching 1 million views in Forbes. I wrote an article about financial literacy. 3 financial literacy lessons that you could save you at least $10,000. Oh, that was pretty good. I'm trying to get them in with the $10,000. It got 1,343 views, which is not bad. It's like average. A couple days earlier, I wrote an article, use this investing formula to reach financial freedom in retirement. That got 43,000 views. Do you see the difference? We have a 40x difference in engagement. The people are telling us what they want, but it is not that easy to write great copy. Let's do a little test here. This or that. Which program would you rather go to? This or that? Raise of hands, this. Raise of hands, that. Okay, let's try this one. This is for small businesses. What about that? Okay, how about this one? This or that? What did y'all notice? Because y'all are laughing, so I'm going to guess why you're laughing. All of the thises are ones that I scouted from the credit unions in this room. Oh, snap, she said it. These are all titles that I pulled from your websites. That are my titles. The content, I bet you, is virtually the same. I'm going to even guess that your content might even be better than mine. But which one are people going to show up to? That. I want you to think of the program that you just mentioned, that you said you would double down on. How can you just title it better than what it's titled now? You don't have to do anything but change it on the website. It's a matter of a couple of words. This is literally on someone's website, home buying webinar. Don't worry, there's multiple. A lot of you are offenders of this one. I have it, how to own your home debt-free. I still teach home buying, but I teach people, maybe you could consider a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage, right? Maybe you can wait a little bit more to get the down payment. I still teach the same stuff that you teach, but the outcome was that I was able to pay off my house by 35. So I want you to think about, what do you notice is the difference? This is how we use the critical thinking skills. What's the difference between these two? Same content. I also purposefully made it the same font and everything, so it's not about flashiness or anything. It's just words. Debt-free. Because what's the problem that people keep telling us? They have too much debt. What else is different about these titles? Yes?
Oh, this one, you're buying it, but this one you already own, you use the word own, you already own it.
Mm-hmm. And it's also farther down the path. What I see a lot of the issue that we have with a lot of our programs is that we're selling the features and we're selling the process, but we're not selling the benefit or the aspiration. How can you sell the aspiration or the dream, not just the benefit or the process? Because people don't want to be a home buyer, they want to be a home owner. Take a minute right now, and I want you to think about the program that you said you would double down on. What are some ideas of how you could improve what you call it? Based off of these examples.
Share. So I put credit education, and I said, how much is your credit score costing you?
Okay. Is that the original title? That's a new one. The new one. Okay, so what was the old title?
Credit education.
Okay, before it was just like credit education. Okay, can you say what for louder for everyone else?
Yes. So originally I had wrote down credit education, and then I would rename it, how much is your credit score costing you?
That's great. That's definitely better. What are some suggestions on how we could improve it?
Credit score is making you broke.
Say it again.
Your credit score is making you broke.
How many people, that's actually a very effective way. People don't want to be broke. They don't want to be poor. Is your credit score keeping you poor? Now, here's a little trick. If you notice, I do this in my titles all the time. I tell them how many steps I'm going to give them, so that they're clear on what they're going to show up for. They're not going to just show up for an hour of rambling. 5 steps to make sure your credit score doesn't make you poor. So that's a great example. Do y'all see the difference? Even if it's not the best, Just aim for better than what you had before. Then test it, and then do it again. U is understand your community's wealth gaps. Here's the truth. I worked in big banking. They don't care. I promise you, they really don't care. I get so many requests for credit card sponsorships for my content, and I have refused every single one because I don't play like that. Your superpower is that you are on the ground. You are talking to people every day, in real life, in your communities. But what we need to do better is to understand why stuff is happening, comprehending what you are seeing in front of you in your own communities. So this is a real life case study of what I have going on in my own community. I have a Crush Club membership. I'm teaching them zero-based budgeting. And I'm like, it's so easy, guys. It's just like, make everything go down to zero. And I would have people who would do it for a couple months, and then they would just stop. I'm staying with them long enough beyond the initial education to actually track the results of whether or not they're staying and doing what I said to do. But then they kept, even the ones who were really gung-ho, kept quitting. Why is this happening? So I actually interviewed several of them, and I was like, why is this not jiving with you? Explain to me so I can help you understand this. And they said, I don't understand how I'm supposed to allocate all of the money at the top of the month if I get a paycheck in the middle of the month. What does that mean? They don't understand cash flow. And more importantly, we are still living paycheck to paycheck, not just in reality, but their mindset. I have people who make multiple six figures and they can't. I figured out what I call the cash flow cushion, and this is what I teach all of my adults, which is you need to have 1 month's worth of expenses in your checking account, not in your savings account, in your checking account. Your emergency fund is a completely different thing. If you have 1 month's worth of money in your checking account, then you don't have to wait for the next paycheck to come in, because then the next paycheck will just replenish the money that left. And then all of a sudden, everyone started sticking to their budgets. But it took me sitting down and listening and trying to understand. I told you this information. I thought it was really great information. And they actually received it well, but there was something deeper that was going on. So I want you to write on your worksheets right now, number 4. You have an advantage that I do not have. All of you as credit unions have tons of data available for you. You know how many people are getting car loans. You know how many people are opening up checking accounts. You know whether or not they have an emergency fund or not. So what is the data that would help support the program that you mentioned earlier that you would double down on? That you could analyze to actually figure out how to make this program better. So for example, I'm gonna pick on you since you were brave before. You had said credit scores, right? So what information might you have at the credit union that might help you understand how you could improve the program?
I think explaining the different scores, so telling the range of scores,
Mm-hmm.
and we teach currently like the difference in interest rate and how much that's cost.
That's right. If you already have data feedback from the programs that you've run, have we really analyzed that data? Have we sliced it in every way possible to figure out actually the people who receive this best are women of color? Oh, actually the people who receive this best are the 18-year-olds and not the 16-year-olds. Have we looked at couples versus individuals? Have you sliced the data to be able to say, okay, you know what, maybe who I need to target are the ones who are most successful with the program and just find all their friends. All right, let's talk about the S. The S in Crush stands for spend unvetted experts. This is how you do a lot more work in less time. Borrow content instead of creating. Now, a lot of you are doing this already with a lot of the sponsors. You're using GreenPath, you're using a lot of these tools, which is great. But I still see a lot of people focus on software and not bringing other humans into their programs. The reason that I'm able to get cheeks and seats, because that's the term this weekend, is because a lot of people relate to me in one way or another. Maybe because I'm a woman, maybe because I'm a first generation American, maybe because I'm a millennial, maybe because I'm married, right? So you have to think about who are the people that mirror the community that you want to serve. If your team doesn't have that person, there are plenty of vetted experts who would fill that gap for you. And if you want to have an ROI conversation with your leadership, it is cheaper to bring someone in who already has the content and the audience and the reputation for you to just borrow that. And honestly, that's what a lot of your organizations are doing with each of you. They're like, you're a great financial educator. We're going to borrow your skills, and we're going to use that as business development to go open new accounts. Here is some data that I pulled. There's a list of the 100 credit unions that have the highest Instagram followings, okay? Is anyone on this list? Can anyone see? Is anyone on this list? Which one are you? You're number 9. Awesome. Is anyone else on this list that you can see? Which one are you? Number 9 and we got top 10 Instagram influencers up in here. Isn't that awesome? Let's give them a round of applause, because that's actually not easy. That's awesome. Look at the difference. 135, 104, and then the 20th has 7,000. I was asking if is anyone from number 1? Okay, good, because I think it's a little sus. As someone who does social media, I went to go look. I was like, how did they get 153,000 people to follow a credit union? But if you look at their engagement, there's none. There's no engagement on any of their posts. So something's interesting, I'll say, going on there. Number 2, though, Navy, I looked at theirs. There's real engagement. There's real engagement. They're doing a really good job. But here's what I realized. I was like, if I was a credit union, I would be number 7 on Instagram. And all of my audience are people who are interested in personal finance and want to become debt-free and financially free. They would make great clients for you. But instead, a lot of us, and this is myself included, a lot of us are like, let me just build my own platform. Let me just do the thing myself, even though I don't know anything about Instagram Reels. Instead of going to people who have aligned interests and borrowing their audiences instead. Here's my friend, Chris Browning. He is the face of the local credit union in my state. He has an amazing podcast, and what they did essentially was repurpose his podcast episodes into white-labeled material for their financial education. I promise you, it cost them way less to do it with him than a lot of other solutions because it was ready to go. We all talk about budgets. How many of us know that when we teach budgeting, a lot of it is about that mindset? But then when our partners or potential clients don't want to pay us and they're like, it's because of the budget. No, it's never about the budget. I learned this because they all paid me to teach financial education. What is interesting about the top 3? They're all financial institutions. They all have financial advisors that could just teach for free, and they still paid me. What is the difference? It's because I had a very specific program, a very specific storytelling point that people wanted now. What do you notice about the bottom ones? They're all schools, and they're all kids, right? They paid me. They paid me good money to teach. So it's never about the budget. The question is, what are we really offering them? We can no longer sell information. Information is free nowadays. You can literally go to ChatGPT and ask them anything. And yeah, the answers are not always perfect, but they're not terrible. Actually, if you ask them what's the downside of credit cards, it's not wrong. We're not selling information anymore. What are we actually selling people? Motivation, yes. Accountability. Relationships. Lifestyle. What else? Support. Our own experiences, inspiration, real life case studies that this stuff actually works. Freedom. She caught what we said earlier, right? We are teaching freedom. We are not teaching information. If you keep selling information, then you'll always be competing to be the cheapest or even free. So here's how I would make the case. This is how I made the case for all of these different places to pay me. And I use this as a credit union example. I researched, and it said the customer acquisition cost for a credit union is between $350 and $700 to acquire a new member. That's based on all the advertising they have to put out and how many people actually come in. If someone were to pay me $5,000 as a partnership, and they're like, why would we pay you $5,000 to come speak? We can get someone to do that for free. That's what I always get. If it's going to cost you $500, I'm using the middle, 350 and 7, just to split the difference here, easy math, then we just need 10 conversions. 10 conversions for this to make sense. Here's an example. At TIAA, where they have all the financial advisors at their disposal, I did a session for them, calm the buck down. They had 550 people show up. 550 people show up. They never had that many people show up before. But the reason that worked well was also because it was specifically for the Asian Alliance, and I was the first person they ever heard that was a debt-free millionaire who was going to retire at 40. How much can you budget between now and the end of the year? How much can you spend in collaboration with experts instead of trying to reinvent the wheel on your own? Who are people that represent the community that you want to serve? And if you have any, I don't know the person, I don't know the exact person, but I know the type that I'm going for. I can name 24 other people like me, like Erica, who are willing to do this work. While you're writing that down, more background about me. I'm on my own Eras tour, all right? I actually started out as a recovering HR professional. I was in HR for 10 years before this. I was the person y'all were selling to, saying, please, let me talk to your employees. I was like, I don't get what you're selling, right? And I ended up going back to school, getting an MBA, very expensive, was in $72,000 of student loan debt, and a total of $300,000 of debt, including the more mortgages than I was supposed to have. And I decided in 2016 that I wanted to become an entrepreneur. But I didn't feel comfortable in becoming an entrepreneur until I paid off all that debt. So my husband and I, we doubled down doing a lot of the stuff that y'all teach, budgeting and paying off our credit cards and putting the emergency fund. And we were able to pay off all $72,000 in less than a year, and we were able to pay off $300,000 in 3 years. That led me to a lot of people asking me, how did you do that? How did you do that? And so I did a 10-episode podcast season on how I paid off $72,000 of student loans. That led into doing TV and doing programs, and then down the line, I eventually started coaching. And so today, I write for all of these different media places, but I want to invest in people, and people that I know that are doing good work. And so I teach y'all some of the things that I learned in my own business things because I want y'all to succeed. I want to see credit unions stay around for a very long time. And so the H in Crush stands for Heal Money Wounds. And this is where I think all of you have a leg up on every large financial institution there is. This is why I believe credit unions exist, because you have the ability to go into communities and help heal money wounds. We talked so much about that this weekend. One of my big hot topics is that I rent, even though I can afford to buy a home. One of the hot things that I always get into debates about with people is how, don't get me wrong, I love owning homes too, but right now I rent. Me and my husband paid off 3 homes and we sold them all, and we decided we're gonna rent for a while and just travel the world. It just works for us right now. But what a lot of people don't know is the money wound for me was that my parents almost lost their house. They were homeowners and they were still gonna lose their house. That's why I rent. That's part of the reason why I rent right now. And so I want all of us to think very deeply about this. I heard so many amazing stories this past couple of days of things that really matter to you. Within your story, what is a money wound that you have had personally? Maybe you heard in your household, there ain't no money. Maybe you were laid off at a job. Maybe someone passed away suddenly and there was no plan. That money wound actually makes you the most qualified person to teach people. And then I want you to ask yourself, how could I incorporate this into the programs that I might offer? So it could be as simple as sharing that story when you introduce yourself at the top of a presentation. It could be in your bio on the website. Here's what I learned, and this is why people pay me. They want to learn from humans. And they want to learn from imperfect humans. How many of us are tired of the curated content on your feed that you know is not real? Nobody wants it, and people can tell it very easily now. Don't get me wrong, the tools are great, presentations are great, software is great. But if we're really being honest, if we're going to compete with financial institutions, which I want you to win, your superpower is being human. All of you are touching people in real time with real lives. Can we all give ourselves a round of applause for making it through the last couple of days? All right, and one last thing. On the count of 3, repeat after me. I am a money superhero. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day. If you're enjoying this content and want to take real action towards crushing your money goals, check out my new book. It is Crush Your Money Goals, 25 habits that you can use starting today to pay off debt, save, invest, and reach financial freedom. It's jam-packed with all of my best tips as a debt-free millionaire and your new money mentor. Check it out at crushyourmoneygoals.com or head to Amazon or wherever you buy books. Grab yours today.